Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Lead Like a Girl podcast. This month, it is again my honor to be sitting with Dr. Lulu Gwagwa. Thank you so much for coming and having a conversation with us. It's not lost on me that there are now 9,500 people following these podcasts, listening to the conversations that we're having and the journey we're taking together as we speak about what it means to lead like a girl. And we speak to leaders who we feel are embodying something that's incredibly important that we'd like to share with others. And so I hope you will enjoy this conversation.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to have a chat with you. So I'm looking forward to it.
No, I am too. I enjoyed listening, and I know you guys will have a preview to Dr. Lulu's lessons in leadership in her own journey. But I think where I want to start is, and we've heard the story of your journey as a young girl, of a courageous and determined 8-year-old. I can only imagine 24.5 kilometers on short legs is a long journey. There must have been some serious determination in that little girl that took her through all of that. Talk to me about an anchor that you've mentioned in your life before, your dad, and how he played a role in your life and you trusted him. He said to you that would be the best place to start your primary schooling and then another school for your development. Talk to me about your relationship and tell us about him.
I think my father, there are a couple of things that really stand out. And I also do believe very strongly that fathers play such a critical role in their children, particularly the daughters.
Yeah.
Because in a sense, they become that anchor. I think as a young girl, you've got this sense of vulnerability.
Yeah.
This sense of not believing in yourself. Society is kind of making you feel invisible.
Yeah.
But I think because a father is somebody that represents strength, I think my father had this very scrawl or thin body,
Yes.
but very strong and tall. So he almost represented this tree that's unshakable,
Yeah.
but also just his whole being. My father was very strong on education, very strong on integrity, and very strong on giving back to society.
Yeah.
And so I kind of grew up seeing him being very present in our family. When you came back from school, you were showing your homework, you were saying, what did you do at school?
Yeah.
If we went to church, you knew you had to come back and say, and he would say, what was the sermon? And you, as children, you go to school, to church, not to listen to the sermon. You're going to church because you've been told to go to church. But with my father, you wanted that focus. You know, what are the key things that you took out of church today? And so my father became this a very, very strong anchor to me. And he died probably about 43, 44 years ago.
Yeah.
And I will tell you today that my father remains a very strong anchor for me. So I'm almost still going out there and as my father's little girl, that is trying to seriously make him very, very proud. So I think it is those elements that were very important to me about my father. But also, he didn't have boys.
Yes.
He had 5 girls, and I was the eldest. And I always say, I think I'm the son that he never had. And that's how he actually treated me, as the son that he never had.
There's something that speaks to your father's just maturity, but also he sounds like a man who in himself was at peace, because there's nothing in him that is saying, these are girls, there's no future for them, I can only expect to marry them off. He sets a very high standard and simply expects everyone to follow. I mean, I think even now when I ask my children what happened in Sunday school, we got sweets. I don't always get the scripture out of them, but he sets a standard and then you all rise to meet it. I think is an amazing thing. You tell your story. It's not just your father. There's a cousin that you're taking this walk with. And I think there's something about healthy relationships, our brothers, our fathers, that gives women a confidence and a strength going forward. And I think it really echoes. So I want to honor them in your story and say it changes things. And then beyond that, you get married and you have children, 2 children. And What has that relationship done for you, I think?
Because I always say to young women, the person that you choose as your love partner, as a woman, as an ambitious career woman, is very critical, because they can destroy your career and your ambitions and your dreams.
Yeah.
Because if they're second guessing you, and you are sitting in that meeting and it was supposed to finish at 5, it's now 4:45, and you see it's going to 5:30, and you are now worried about what is he going to say, where is the food? Then from that point onwards, you are not concentrating in the meeting, meaning you are not showing up for yourself. And I think for me, that's what my husband has represented. It's somebody who's very content in himself. His biggest occupation is not being my husband. It's just one of the things that happen in his life. Otherwise, he's got a life to lead. But I know deep down that when it comes to my career and my ambitions, he's that silent chief a fan for the things that I do and supporting. And so I think this is such an important element, because sometimes we don't talk enough about the importance of men in women's careers and in women's lives. I think for me, that affirmation from my dad, from my cousin Duzu, that I walked 24.5 kilometers every month with, and him walking this journey alongside me all the way. The man that I ended up marrying, being there for me, just the space for me to do the things that matter to me. And today my son, who will kill everybody. He just wants to make sure that mom is comfortable. Mom is at peace, mom is happy. And so I think the role of men is very, very important. I say to people, I might not have finished my PhD if it was not for my husband. Because I started and then I had children, then I stopped, then I started and then I stopped. And at some point in time, my husband sat me down and said, listen, we try to plan, we're going on holiday, we're doing next year, we're doing this. And you say, yes, but can we just agree that you now sit down, finish your PhD, so that we can, the rest of us, get on with our lives? Because I can see that there's something that you not feel happy about. So in the end, I went to Sweden for 3 months, left my children with him, 4 and 5 years old. He said to me, it's not your children. When I say my children, he said, well, they happen to be my children.
Too.
And so left him with the children. And I went to Sweden. That's how I finished my PhD.
That's incredible.
And if it was another man would have said, PhD, my children, this, what are my parents going to say? So this is critical. Men are important in women's lives.
And I have to then add is that what you've done in that life partner choice, what you've done in fostering that relationship, because it's not magic, it takes work, is you've given your daughter the same opportunity to be loved, to be seen, to be encouraged. And I have to mention, you said she's also doing her PhD.
Yeah, she's hopefully submitting a PhD in December. And again, her father has been very critical in actually getting her to do the things that she does. At some point she said, can I extend by a year, because I'm doing content, and she does content around reading and writing, and she does interesting things. But her father has given her that space to say, you pursue a PhD, but I'll also support you to do your other creative thing, which has got absolutely nothing to do with her academic work in law. But giving her that flexibility has given her the confidence to do both and excel in both. And on the other hand, the brother that also supports her. I mean, yesterday I came back from work, says, hello, I feel sorry for you, you don't have a brother. My brother just came from work and said, do you want to go for lunch? And I just went for lunch with my brother. My brother, I know, loves me more than anybody in the world. I said, I'm sure his wife would not say that. But so again, men.
There's a beautiful balance, and there's something that happens, I think, when people are happy, we're happy in our relationships to encourage one another, to step forward. For me, it meant I have a safe relationship with other men. I don't feel overburdened. I don't feel overcome because I know that I have a safe space to return to. And I know that I have also worked to a high standard with a parent who's helped me do that without ever feeling threatened. So thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to kind of start off there. I was totally curious about how the two of you fell in love, but that would be another podcast because we all want tips on how to find this partner for life. But yeah, tell us a little bit about young you.
Young me, we met at university. And I think he at University of Natal, he was at medical school and I was doing town planning. And that's how we kind of met. And I think for me, it was about the values. We didn't kind of hit it in the beginning. He was a friend to a cousin of mine, but I think just being in each other's spaces and kind of seeing what matters. And it was about things that were important to him, seemed to be important to me and vice versa. And in the end, I think it is about how he was brought up. It's almost the same as how we brought up. He comes from a family of 6 boys only. I come from a family of 5 girls only. And his father was a school principal. My father was a school principal. So I think at the end, what really in my mind, when I look back, it's the right and wrong. So the way he was brought up and the way that I was brought up, what is right and what is wrong, we cannot agree on that. You know, when you can still go and do the wrong thing, but you agree on what's wrong and right. So it doesn't mean that I'm never do anything wrong or he doesn't. But when I say to him, I don't think this was kosher what you did there, I know that he knows.
You agree on that.
Exactly. So it's about agreeing just on fundamentals like that. So those are some of the things that I think are key. But yeah, we met at university. We've been together for more than 40 years now.
Lovely. So now we know. Thank you. Yeah, and I think something for me that has been fundamental to your journey and who you are has been a consistency in values, has been a consistency in the way you've applied yourself. You know, when I hear your story, I hear of a shy young girl, but I'm pretty sure that the determination in the quietness is still the same determination you hear when you speak now. With all the experience in the world, I think that young girl still understood who she was and what she wanted to do, even if there wasn't a clear 5-year plan at the beginning. So there's a deep consistency. And I think for a lot of the girls that are listening and that are kind of following our journey as what does it mean to lead like a girl? What does that look like? Talk to us a little bit about that consistency and how it's meant you can show up as you are now.
I think I come back to my family because where I grew up, it was a huge family. I think there were over 20 of us as children in an extended family. But it was structure. There was a lot of structure about what you woke up and you did. As this group, this age group, you did this. This age group, you did that. You woke up, you went to fetch water, you did this. So I think there was a lot of discipline when we woke up. I mean, when we were growing. And I think that consistency of knowing that, I mean, it was so consistent that I knew what we were going to eat for dinner. That's how consistent my family was. The dinner, you always had amasi, which is sour milk on Sunday, you had sempen beans, there was potatoes, there was cabbage, there was that. So I think just this consistency. And also in terms of education, there was never a message that did not come back to education. Going to church, I think going to church was less about, you're going to go to hell if you go to church. If you don't go to church, Jesus is coming, you're going to be, go to hell. It was about values. So I think that being brought up with consistency, with values, with discipline was something that was very important to us when we grow up. And I've remained that person who's got a lot of routine. I wake up in the morning, I read a little bit of my devotion. After that, I journal. After that, I go for my 5 kilometer, 6 kilometer run. And after that, I come back. My daughter says, "Yo, Mama, you're so consistent. Even when you do your makeup, you always start this side and then you move that side." So I think that consistency of knowing that reading is a very important part of it, which I still do. So I've got to do at least X number of books per month, and. So I think for me, that consistency, it helps to just get you to a point where some things that you do, they don't feel like chores. They're just part of who you are. So what are these things that you want to build into your routine that they don't become routine anymore? They just become part of you.
That's such an important thing. I think for anyone feeling like, well, I missed out on that. I didn't have the dad that gave me that. What does that look like? I think it is possible to start building routines for yourself. And it's true of champions. It's true of great leaders. There is a consistency. I know we hear in Tata Mandela's story, the same things. He would exercise, he would write, he would read, the letters, the decisions that were made. There was a deep consistency in that. And so I think we see in many leaders that's continued. So that would be a big encouragement.
Just on that point as well, I mean, there's a saying which I really, really love, that choice and not chance determines your destiny. So it is about choice. It's the choices that you make and the consistency behind those choices. It's not chance. In saying that, it does not mean that, like as I said, I don't have a 5-year plan, but there's certain things behind that consistency is what is the choice. It's about building that capacity behind that. And so that life is not just by chance. I will not exercise and then this, things are just going to happen. You have to build in that excellence quietly behind it. What is behind the person that we see? And I think for me, these choices lie there and not necessarily in what people see, because it's the being that really drives the doing. Doing doesn't just happen by chance. It's the being behind it. So I believe so strongly in building this being behind what people see, because that becomes the anchor of what happens and that people see on stage. It's not that, it's the things that are behind.
It's a critical thing that a lot of us don't learn until later on in life. Is the affirmation of ourselves, of our journey, of the things that we've learned and who we've become, but how we maintain that, how we walk in that. I was deeply challenged coming into this conversation. Busyness can kill routines, can kill all the things that are building a strong structure. And so I was coming to this conversation feeling very convicted, having recently been busy, but my being and confirming who I am and the things that I value, preparedness, conversation, building into others, that needs to happen all the time so that through this, honoring the time we have with you, giving others an opportunity to learn. Who was teaching you and talking to you about your being? How has that happened now? Was that even as a young girl, or was that in your professional life? Just around the sense of who is Lulu, how does she show up, her being, and who values that, so that that building is happening consistently, whether or not there's an opportunity, a new investment, whatever it is, there's a consistency that's going. How did that happen?
I think there's two people. I come back to my father. My father was critical in that. And the second person was my elder cousin that we grew up with, Usis Tembeka, who affirmed me in so many ways. And even today, I can kind of hear her voice that kept saying, "Yo, you've got so much potential. You are going to be something quite big in life." And so I always then had these two people that I was like, this is what they're saying to me. It must be true. Even when I feel that I don't believe in myself, I go back and say, what would they say now about me? Would they say, I can do this? So I think those constant voices are very, very important to be doing. Even when you're a leader, there's young people that are coming into the organization. They just come out of university and they don't trust themselves. Just that quiet saying, you can do this. Either you are saying it as a voice, or you just calling them, no, come in, no, sit in this meeting and listen. And you are hearing that person is fetching you and affirming you. is something that's very, very important. But I also have to say this, having said, as somebody who's got quite a strong routine, it's also not beating ourselves up if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, damn, we are not doing any journaling today. Actually, we are not running today, we're tired. It's to give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
Because I think as women, the society beats us up so much that we get into the bandwagon of beating ourselves up. So I think one of the key things is to give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
To say, actually, I can't do this all. And I always say to women, people talk about this, women are good at juggling balls, but actually, no, it's not. We must give ourselves grace by saying, okay, I've got all of these balls. They're all very important to me. But you know what? This week or this year, these 2 balls are very important, but I'm going to park them for now. I mean, I talked about my PhD. I had 2 very young kids. But at that point, because it was so critical, I had to take my 2 precious children, almost park them, not dump them.
No.
Park them,
Yeah.
get on with this PhD and finish the PhD and come back, and so life is about juggling and giving ourselves grace. It's okay to put some balls sometimes and put them on the side. And this is critical for women, because if you're going to achieve that excellence, you can't have 10 balls in the air at the same time. It's not possible. So you achieve excellence and you ground this, and then you come back, you do that, you come back there. So juggling for me is that ability to know what's important right now as I build this journey of life.
I love that. I love the picture you had and the kind of anticipation you have and where you want to reach. And I mean, sometimes it was as simple as I could imagine you thinking about that meal, that hot meal prepared just like something is prepared at home, and the anticipation of walking into that. And I think in a lot of ways, if we are clear, what is it that I'm anticipating? What am I looking forward to? What do I want to actually achieve at that point where I'm walking home? I'm walking towards a goal. And how do I make sure that I reach that? I'm not distracted, and I'm not trying to reach 4 destinations on the way to one. This is actually where I want to be. I think that focus and that ability to then say, I'm choosing this at this time, and this is what I want to do.
But also allowing yourselves detours.
Yes.
And being able to make a distinction between a detour and a distraction. Because sometimes that detour actually enriches your life. But I'm still going there. But actually, I'm on the entry, I'm going to Durban. But you know what? I'm actually go via Ladysmith. But I'm going to Durban and allowing that, because sometimes there's a big hurdle on the way, which by itself is actually forcing you to take a detour rather than the big hurdle on the way. So it means I wasn't meant to go there, because we're very quick to say when there's a big hurdle, big stone, the road has collapsed, or there's a truck that's overturned on the entry, as they do every day. Then you give up and you say,
I
okay,
wasn't meant to go
actually,
that way.
I wasn't meant to be, so I'm just driving back. Allow yourself a detour sometimes, but make that distinction between a detour and a distraction.
It's been amazing to talk. There's never enough time. There's so many things that I want to get into. But you drove something home so powerfully, and it was just around finishing what you start. I think the discipline of completing something, of what is in front of you, do it well, because it is going to be, it's actually what you are doing now is your next opportunity in the strangest way, And so, I think just talk to us a little bit about finishing what you start. We're having this amazing walk this weekend. I'm excited about that. You finished the journey, and we're able to have this conversation because of that.
I think it's because when you don't finish something, it hangs in your system. And I think I talked about my PhD and not finishing. Went on and had children, but it was actually hanging in my subconscious mind. So it's sitting there. It hasn't disappeared. It's sitting here. It was until my husband said, I can see it's a blockage. You can't think clearly because there's something here. And so I think and once I went and I finished that, a whole range of things opened. Not that they weren't there. They were there, but I couldn't see them. because there's something there that is sitting there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very important to actually start something, finish. And it does not mean you take a big, sometimes we think to finish means I'm going to take this big, long jump. Sometimes it's just the discipline to say, let me take small steps. Because then I'm going to finish, because finishing gives you the confidence to say, I can.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing. So take those small steps, finish something. It's a platform and the confidence for you to get to the next step.
Absolutely.
Because when you're doing the steps, that's why steps are like this. It is because you got to do the step and the next step and the next step. Before you know, you're right at the top.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you try to do this, that's when you actually fracture your ankle in trying to do that. So this thing of, let me take the small steps, but I'm going to finish each one of them, is something that has been very, very critical for me.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot out of that process. And the thing about young people today, because the concentration span is so short, that that capacity to say, let me focus, and not want it all today. Prepare yourself, do it right, finish it. It's preparing you for the big step next. I now chair the board of Balo World. I've had an opportunity to sit on a whole range of boards before, but I did not day one and say, I'm actually going to chair the board. I'm a Black woman. I've got the skills. There are many overtures. Maybe you should chair this. Maybe you should do this.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, let me actually do a couple of other big boards and watch other people chair boards and work out my own style. That if I chair board, this is what I would do. But I had actually built that skill base. Maybe as a woman, I might have taken longer because of self-confidence. But when I chair that board today, I know that I'm doing that very well because I'm drawing on huge capacity and experience of many things that I've done for you before, where I've chaired a board, read my pack, finished that. So when I leave that board, be it First Rand, be it Massmart or whatever, I know when they say she served us well.
Yeah.
And then I moved there, she served us well. So when that opportunity arose, everybody will say, we know she can do that.
Yeah.
And that's why then I ended up chairing the big listed board of a global company today.
It's incredible. You started out telling us it's not chance, it's choice.
Yeah.
And so those choices in this thing that is before me now, I'm just a board member, but one day when I am the chairperson, the choices I made as a serving board member serve me now in leadership. I understand how to work with the group. I understand how to do this well. And I can be confident in the choices that I make in the way that I do it because of the choices and the journey that I've taken.
Yeah.
I wanted to carry on talking, and I really, really appreciate your time. I think it's an amazing journey. We're looking forward to taking the walk with you, and I hope you'll get on the platform, follow Traversing Liminality, and just, I know that your journey is not over, and that you are still making choices and walking through, and I look forward to seeing where your journey continues to lead you. But we think you are incredible in the way that you lead like a girl. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I take it all in.